Multiplying fractions. This is a review of part 4. In today's lesson, students will review how to multiply fractions and simplify by using cross division. By using what? Cross division. Very good. So let's review how to multiply fractions. Okay, go ahead and write for me. When multiplying fractions, first multiply the numerators, okay? So when you multiply fractions, you multiply across. You do what? Multiply across. So you multiply pretty much the top numbers, which are the numerators. The second step is to multiply the denominators, okay? Then you multiply the bottom numbers. And there's a special way that you simplify, which we learned yesterday for the first time, and you were all very confused. So that's why we're doing this again. You simplify by using cross dividing. Okay, so the opposite of multiplication is division, right? We've been cross multiplying. Well, now we can actually cross divide to simplify. Okay, so we do not have to do long division. So let me show you real quick how this works. If you have 1/6 and then you multiply it by 2/9, okay, I put the numbers that can cross divide in red. Okay, now if I were to solve this, okay, as it is, which I ask you to do, you multiply across the numerators. What is 1 times 2? 1 times 2 is what? 1 times 2 is 2. So the answer would be 2 over, or 2 divided by 6 times 9. What is 6 times 9? 6 times 9 is 54, right? Okay, when you look at 2 over 54, or 2 54ths, okay, we're going to get a little closer now. When you look at that, can this be simplified? Can it be simplified? Yes, it can. Now, because 2 is 2 an even number, is 2 even? Yes. Is 54 an even number? Yes. You could divide the top and the bottom number by 2. But instead, what I want you to do is I want you to cross divide. And when you cross divide, that's really simple. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like here. When you cross divide the 6 and the 2, yeah? I'll rewrite it. You have a 1/6 multiplied again by 2/9. All right. Well, the 6 and the 2, look at a cross. Could you divide them by the same number? They're both even, right? What could you divide by? You could divide by what? You could divide by 2, right? Okay. So then you do 2 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2, any number divided by itself is 1. And then 6 divided by 2, you cross it out. 6 divided by 2, and that is 3. So your new fractions then, I'll rewrite them over here, are 1/3 times, and then what's the new number up here? The new numerator is 1/9. So then that becomes pretty simple. 1 times 1 is 1, and then the denominator is 3 times 9, which is 27. So that is how you cross divide, which is another way to simplify. Okay, so read the first example with me and write it on your paper. It says 1/6 multiplied by 2/7. 1/6 times 2/7. Okay, so if we're actually going to multiply this twice, okay? First, we're going to multiply the numerators, which is 1 times 2. What is 1 times 2? 1 times 2, not 1 plus 2. What's 1 times 2? Ah, it's 2. Okay, and what about the denominators? We got to multiply across the denominator, 6 times 7. Well, 6 times 7 is 42. we get 2 over 42. Now, we know that we can simplify this, right? What do you think you should divide by? What could you divide by? They both end in 2, right? So you could divide by 2. Instead of doing that, we're going to cross divide. Now, look, this right here, you're going to rewrite it right here. So whatever's in the box, you're going to rewrite it in cross divide. So you have cross division. All right, we're going to say 1, and I'm going to write the numbers in red that you can cross divide. I'm going to rewrite 1/6 times 2/7. Now, why did I make the 6 and the 2 red? Why did I make them red? Could you cross divide these two? First, let me ask, could you cross divide 1 and 7? Could you divide 1 and 7 by a number? The same number? No. Because 1 and 7 are both prime and they're both odd numbers. But 6 and 2 you could divide by what? You could divide by 2, right? So instead of saying 2 divided by 2 and 42 divided by 2, we're just actually looking at this numerator and this denominator. What is 2 divided by 2? 2 divided by 2 is what? It's 1, right? So we're going to cross it off and write a 1. What about 6 divided by 2? 6 divided by 2 is 3. Very nice. Okay, so then you rewrite these, the new denominator and the new numerator. We're going to rewrite it as 1, what's the new denominator? 3rd times 1/7. See how that works? Okay. So you have 1 times 1 is 1 over, what about 3 times 27? 3 times 27. What is it? It's 21. That's right. Okay. So you would have the same answer as if you divided the top and the bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 42 divided by 2 is 21. But we cross-divided instead. Get this down. 3/5. All right. So when you multiply fractions, you just multiply across. Okay. Say multiply. Multiply fractions, you multiply across. All right. So 1 times 3 is 3. What about 6 times 5? What is 6 times 5? 6 times 5 is, what is it? 30, right? Now, already in your mind, you know, let's see, 3 and 30. Are those both multiples of 3? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Those are the multiples of 3, right? So you know in your mind, I can divide both the top and the bottom fraction by 3, okay? But instead, we're going to cross divide. Now, cross division, you have to rewrite the fractions. So I'm going to write them with what you can cross divide in red, okay? So take a look. You have a 6 at the bottom of this fraction in the denominator, and you have a 3 in the numerator of this one. Talk about 3/5, right? All right, so we're going to cross divide. Here we go. Actually, nothing is going to go here. Don't put an equal sign. We're just cross dividing, then we're going to rewrite. Here we go. Look at the red numbers. Could you divide by 3? You could, right? So you're going to cross divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is, what is 6 divided by 3? 6 divided by 3 is 2. Very nice. Okay, so let's rewrite the fractions now. Now you're going to have 1 over 2, right, 1/2, multiplied by 1/5. You with me? All right. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 5 is 10. Very good, okay? Now, if you would have just divided the top and the bottom, or the numerator and the denominator by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 30 divided by 3 is also 10. Okay, so see how these are the same? But this is a little simpler because this is a shortcut. Read example 3 with me. It says 1/3 times 3/20. Write it. Write it down. All right. So when you multiply fractions, multiply across, okay? So you multiply across. Where? Across. That means multiply the top numbers, you get the new numerator. You multiply the bottom numbers, you get the new denominator, okay? So we have 1 times 3. What is 1 times 3? Any number times 1 is that number. Multiplied by 1, it's 3, right? All right, and 20 times 3. The challenge. 20 times 3. Well, you think, what's 3 times 2 with a 0? 3 times 2 is 6 with a 0 is what? It's 60. Right? Like 20 plus 20 plus 20. Right? It's 60. Okay. Now, it might be a little difficult for you to say, oh, well, I can only divide by 3. Right? I can only divide by 3. So, what could be very simple for you is cross-dividing. Watch. If you cross-divide in order to simplify, you say, all right, I have 1/3 and I'm going to multiply it by 3/20. Okay. What do you notice about these fractions? What do you notice about the red numbers? Are they the same? Are they the same? Yeah. So really what these actually do, they cross-cancel. They become 1. If you divide, what would you divide by to make them 1? What would you divide 3 by to make it 1? Oh, well, you would have to divide by 3. If you divide by 3, watch. You cross out the 3 and make it a 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. What is 3 divided by 3? It's 1. So when you rewrite, okay, it becomes 1/1. What is 1 divided by 1? 1 divided by 1? You don't know it, do you? It's 1. And then you multiply it by 1/20. Okay, so 1 times 1 is 1, right? And 20 times 1 is 20. Okay, so this is 1/20. Again, you could find this by dividing by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 60 divided by 3 is 20. Okay. But this is a simpler way because you could cross-cancel out the 3's, watch, to get 1/20. See it? 1/20. All right, write that down.